Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is William Michael Forbes. I want to welcome you to Shortcuts for Your Soul. And today we have the pleasure of having Gaia coming through. She came to me yesterday morning and she spent a good chunk of yesterday talking about being and the idea of love, being in love, and what that really means from her perspective for humanity at this time. One of the things she wants to talk about is about disease and sickness and death from her perspective, so that we understand that there's nothing, the earth is not operating against us. There's nothing in the environment that's operating against humanity at all. She wants us all to be very, 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 very clear on that. I'm just, so that's where we're going to be starting this from. Got to bring this down. There we go. Wonderful. We're just going to wait a few minutes for people to come on. Brand new, beautiful day in paradise. Hi, Lori. Welcome to today's version of Shortcuts for Your Soul. Today we have Gaia with us, and I'm really excited about what she's going to have to say about disease and death and life and love. It's been amazing. Hi, Kimberly, Katya, Patricia. It's a brand new day. Do you guys wake up that way? Would you wake up with the idea that today is a brand new, beautiful day? Do you wake up with that as your first thought in your mind? That's where I go to first thing. I open up. This is a beautiful, brand new day. It's a clean slate. You know, if we understand that, it will liberate you from so much suffering. Just being able to get to that level of consciousness in your mind when you open your eyes in the morning, when you come back into your body in the morning, you open your eyes to make a decision that this is a beautiful, brand new day, which it is, because there's nothing in it unless you carry stuff into it from yesterday, right, or the years before, which we've all done. Every one of us have done that. But I have Gaia with me today, and Gaia's came to me yesterday morning at like 8 o'clock. She said, I will be with you tomorrow on your Shortcuts for the Soul. And it's important we discuss this concept of disease and death and love in relation to humanity. And one of the things she said, I do not and will not perpetuate a disease of any kind to destroy any of my children. This is not something I do. This is something my children can get involved in, things that will cause them harm themselves. But I, in of my own volition, have nothing but love for the children of my own expression. It's interesting that children of my own expression. When I question her about what she means by the children of my own expression, she means every single physical thing on this dimension, that within the confines of the planetary system. She says it's true beyond that, but there are different beings, different awarenesses, different individualized consciousness as different planets or different celestial bodies that each have their own unique expression. Just as the subatomic particles in your body each have a unique individual expression, as do single cells in your body have their own unique expression. So too do I, as a whole collective of consciousness, as what you call Earth, have a unique conscious expression that is distinctly my own. And all of you are effects of my physical expression, but you too have your own individual consciousness while you reside in that form that I provided for you. That's fascinating. So she provides us with the substance, the matter, the material that we get to exist in as this physical body. She says, this comes to you and it will come back to me, and it will be used by somebody else for something else, for something else. There are no two expressions the same on this dimension at all. It's interesting that when you consider from the perspective of consciousness, that every single thing that exists has its own unique consciousness and constituent parts that make up the consciousness. She says the waters are one facet of my being, much the same way the blood flows through your veins, so too the waters flow through my body. So too does the core of my body have a heart that beats similar to yours, but in a different structure and with a different science to it. But if you look at the way your body functions, it is a precise expression and extension, a microcosm, if you like, of who I am. And so your body has many of the same functions that my body does. And I find that interesting, that our physical bodies basically are are microcosmic expressions of Gaia and her consciousness, and that we get to actually exist in it and use it. We get to use a piece of her. We get to actually, we got this has been gifted to us, and we have a chance to use it. So the concept of being in love, she says that I never have and I never will create any form of mass disease to harm or hurt any one of you. There has been no time in my creation that this was done in any form of intention or maliciousness. My airs and my waters have been generated to sustain life, not to take it, to create life, not to destroy it. You must understand this. If you understand this, then you should have no fear. You'd have no fear to walk down the streets or to breathe the air. I breathe as you breathe. You breathe, I breathe. You breathe, I breathe. And this is true for all of these things that you call this material world. My spirit, my consciousness is vastly more expanded in terms of its capability than what yours is individually. You are essentially just the beginning of what you may one day become as I and as others. So there's different levels. There's different levels of the manifestation process. Sorry, I just want to adjust the lighting a bit there. So bright. There we go. Wonderful. But yeah, so Gaia's understanding that she is here. She loves us. Like, she loves us because we're not separate from her. She has cultivated and mastered this concept of self-love. When I asked her, well, why do you allow humans to do the things that they do? And she said, there's an allowance for a certain creative expression in order that you learn to understand your own creative potential. That as you learn your own creative potential, it is natural that you will learn from those things. So that there will be certain things that you will reap results from that will be beneficial to you. And there are certain things that you will learn and do that you will reap suffering from. And it is from those two that you will make a decision about what it is you will continue to pursue as your creative expression. She's also been saying you're going to notice an uptick in geological activity in the coming weeks. There will be some events on this planet geologically. For I am growing and changing as you are growing and changing. We all have our lifespans and we all evolve. So there will be changes in what you call this physical dimension. This is not this is nothing personal from either me or your creator. By your creator, I mean that which created your awareness, your consciousness, your being that you are. I only provided the form, but do not take the changes that will be happening in the next few weeks personally. You will only feel offended or upset if you are limited in the restriction of the belief that your life is restricted to single form. If you believe that your life is restricted to that form, or that the lives of those that you love are restricted to a single form, then you will find yourself thinking you have lost something. But if you understand the process of creative transformation in relation to your being and in relation to my being, then you'll understand that change is necessary and good. Yes. So isn't that amazing, being able to get to that place in consciousness where you realize that the body does not determine how you're going to exist. And you've heard me mention many times, and you've heard some of the other beings that have come through mention that the really important thing while we're in matter is to learn to become aware that we are an awareness, that you aren't that body that you're seeing. The body is just an instrument that's been provided for you to express and experience material reality and your creative process, right? And as you learn to master and become more conscious of your creating abilities and how you can create causes and generate effects, eventually you won't need physical form as we understand it to be now. Eventually you move to a place of consciousness where you are actually generating different realities because you know you can do that. But right now we're just learning the basics. This is like grade school, learning how to change matter from one shape to another. I mean, this is happening all over the universe. It's happening even on Gaia right now. She says she's creating new life forms all the time. And this is just a process of her personal evolution through the experience of her being a physical form. But the essence of her consciousness is not the form you see, but the form you see is an extension of that consciousness that she is, right? Yeah. So that's really amazing that we that the Earth is an extension of the consciousness that we call Gaia, much the same way as our awareness is an extension of the consciousness my awareness is the extension of the consciousness I call William. So William is the extension of consciousness, of awareness that I am, right? And I use the William machine, the William mechanism, as you use the Patricia mechanism or the Kimberly mechanism. As you use those mechanisms to go around and create and gain experience and learn to know how to create and how to change creation so that you begin to become the cause of effects, not subjective to them. And as we gain more and more experience of that, that's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be fun to realize you're not bound by time, space, and matter. It becomes liberating. Hi, Tina. Hi, Katya. So let's get into some questions here. Katya is asking, any geological changes in Portugal? She's saying specific, you're asking for a specific location. She says that place that you call Spain, which may affect Portugal, yes, but it will not be so intense there. Most of these changes will occur in areas where there is as minimum a population as possible, but there will be, she's saying there'll be 2 to 3 instances where there will be population centers that will be affected. But please understand that this is not done in any maliciousness. This is a necessary process that each and every one of us is going through. Much the same way as you were a child once and your parents watched you grow and you became a teenager and the child is now gone. The child became something else. So too do each of you, so too does your race evolve from one state of being into another, where one state formerly existed no longer exists and a new state emerges of being. And this is true for all facets, for all manifestations in this material realm, in this material dimension, which includes what you call your physical cosmos. So please understand that you are expanding and increasing in awareness, not diminishing. You are evolving, cultivating, and developing your consciousness, not diminishing it. And if you understand this, then change becomes something that you will welcome. If you become attached to individual aspects of what you call your humanity as being the only single point from which you can identify someone's presence or awareness of being, then you will think that there is something missing from your life. But there's nothing further from the truth than that. If you understand who you are, then you know that when a form leaves, the opportunity for growth has just been achieved. Yes, thank you. Well, good question. Reflections asking, is planet Nibiru in our orbit? She's laughing. She says, there are so many planets in orbit in your solar system that you were as yet unaware of. The scope and vastness of what you call your solar system is now being discovered with the new technologies that are evolving. They are now finding what you call these smaller planets and microplanets, and these have always been there. And there are greater orbits and greater planets still. But for some of the technology as advanced as it is in your species, you will find that is still like finding a needle in a haystack. Yes. I'm sorry, I was just asking her a question too. I was asking her, is there going to be some sort of a planetary bombardment or an asteroid? She's saying, no, your technology is getting sufficiently developed that you can prevent the significant damages that have occurred in previous civilizations, for your technology will enable you to what you call deflect these things. Yes. But there, yeah, she said there is a show coming. Cool. Wow. Oh, what is a good visualization to connect with you on? That's a great question. Thank you for that, Katya. What is a good vision? I'm trying to describe, if you could see, she's showing me a light, like a very bright central white light. And around that central white light is like a deeper yellow energy. And around that deeper yellow energy, there's these facets, these many fingers of light coming out from that. She says, this is my heart, as your mind will understand its representation. So it's, yeah, It's a bright white spherical core. It's a sphere, not just a circle. It's a spherical core. Excuse me. I know. Thank you. We've been consuming crazy amounts of water here. As the energy comes through more, as you bring more energy through, you literally have to stay more hydrated because the body will demand water more as you start to work with different dimensional levels of energy. So the solid white spherical core, and around the outside of that is a layer of this like a yellowish color, more like a yellow. Do I have a color that would represent that? If you had a yellow highlighter, that kind of yellow. I don't have my highlighter here with me right now. So it's like a yellow, and then a yellow spherical yellow around this white spherical core. And then literally, remember, we're looking at a sphere, not just a circle. And the sphere has literally shafts of white light coming out at all these points. They're very, very close together, but you can see the individual rays of light coming out from all 360 degrees of the sphere. That's the structure. She says that image, you may use that image in the way this one has described. She's saying the way I've described it. She's also saying I've interpreted it in the way I've interpreted, that you can use that image to connect to Gaia. She says you will be surprised at what you find in the very middle of that image. You will be surprised what you find in the very middle of that image. Let's see, Tina. So just for those of you that are new to the live, the Shortcuts to the Soul, for those of you new, when you have a question, please write the word question and then put your question beside it. That way I don't have to scan through everything because I get a lot of information coming. So if you wouldn't mind, just please write question before your question. If you have a question, you want to prioritize it, you can use the super chat in the section under the comments where you can click on the little dollar sign, and for $1 or more, you can get your question prioritized. I'll know that you've answered because I get a notification here that that's occurred. So Tina is asking, does my male guardian angel have a message for me today? Do we want to go into that right now? He says yes. Before this is finished today, we will give you this message. Question from Tina: does my male guardian angel have a message for me today? Yes, we will get to that shortly. Kimberly says, sorry, I posted a question above and forgot to mark it as question. Well, it's a long one. There we go. Okay, well, I'm not seeing it anywhere, Kimberly. And again, if I have to go back and forth, it's just, oh, wait, there it is. No, that's not your question. That's your question about the question. I don't see the question anywhere above, Kimberly, so if you could rewrite it, that would be wonderful. Lori has a question. Besides more grounding, does Gaia have any other advice? Thank you, Gaia and William. She first of all, she says, much love to you, dear one, for asking this question. If you find the time in your own heart to bring that closer to my heart, bring your heart to me, not your head, bring your heart to me. If you bring your heart to me, and you have seen my heart, it has been described to you. If you bring your heart to mine and allow that information that I have for you, and it will be unique to each of you, but bring your heart to mine. And the heart is the awareness, the joy, the love that is your being. The awareness of your being is the heart of what you are. Bring that heart to my heart. Yes. Also, I'll put into, when you do that, be mindful that the information that you will receive from her could be an image, could be a sensation, could be an emotion. But note what it is from your experience, because you'll know what it is. Excuse me. Anne Marie is asking, can Gaia describe her vortexes, and are there some in Northern America? She says the description of these vortexes are phenomena that you call electromagnetic. There's a place in your continent you call the United States where there is a great alley where these vortexes of electrical energy move through, where the great current of the earth moves through this section of the United States. You call these vortexes tornadoes, but they are very powerful vortexes of energy that can be harnessed properly. I still do not understand why you have not decided to create structures in those areas where you could live, enjoy, and experience the love of that energy that I offer to you. Yes. I want to say what she's saying. There is a structure, if you want. There's a website called monolithicdomes.org. I don't have any interest in that company, but I know of the monolithicdomes.org. If you want to live in that whole area where her energy is, build a dome home down there, a concrete dome. It's better. It won't burn. It won't blow down. It'll blow your mind, and you'll be able to experience the energy, because she's saying that those tornadoes are electrical energies that she's exchanging between herself and the above and the below. It's an electrical connectivity. So if you have the right structure, you can exist in that area and never have to have your home blown over or torn down. So check that out, monolithicdomes.org. If I could even put it on the screen if you like. Let's see how I do this. So it'll be .org. Let's see if I got this right here. There you go. So yeah, so if you want to check that out, because those things will stand up to 900 mile an hour winds. That type of a structure. I don't understand why people don't do that, but please hear what she's saying. This is an electrical energy that she's trying to share and exchange, and we can enjoy the beauty of that exchange. Thank you for asking that question. Are there any other vortexes around the earth? She said, yes, they're not just these vortexes. There are what you call magnetic places where there is magnetic shifts and changes. You were watching some of these places in what you call Sedona. There is also such a place in what is called Toronto. There is also a place such as this in a country you call Scandinavia. There are others too in the eastern parts of your world, what you call your eastern parts. Yes. Wow. Beijing, she's saying Beijing is another intense energy vortex. So that's why the population concentration is the way it is there. It's because of her vortex there. Okay, thank you. And other highly concentrated areas of population are also indicators of where her energy vortexes are. Most people think they're there strictly for convenience, but it's actually the energy, which is really important to understand that concept. Now I gotta figure out how to take that off. Let's see. I put that on the screen. I'm gonna try and take it off. There we go. I'm still learning some of this technology. So that's interesting. That large concentrated population centers are areas where there are vortexes, electromagnetic vortexes. But I love the one about the tornado areas where there's large tornadoes, to build a structure there that's really resistant to that, which allows you to receive that energy. She says these vortexes are designed to put you in closer connectivity electrically to her heart, where you can actually experience your heart. That's why so many people are in those places, because they're going there to experience that energy, but they don't know. They don't know that that's what they're experiencing, because most of us, she says, are stuck up in here. Most of us are stuck up in here, so we're disconnected from our relationship with Gaia. Yes, and that's one of the things that's important to get back to. Let's see. Yes, thank you, Anne-Marie. Hi, Heather. Kimberly's asking, some believe the earthquakes, Las Vegas, and volcanoes and earth heating up as earth purging and heat cleaning itself. So she says, no, this is not such. Like you, I too am growing and evolving and changing. I am young by some standards, but I am old by other standards. But from my experience of my being, I am in a process of what you call adulthood. And I am evolving and changing. Do you not lose hair from that physical body? Do not changes happen to your body that are a matter of the effects of the time-space events that you call electromagnetic interplay? Does not your body go through these changes? Well, mine does also. Please understand there is a distinction between my form and who I am. You will know this when you connect to my heart, the distinction between who I am and my body. So my body is growing and changing as is yours. So please understand these are natural effects of ongoing evolution, transformation, and change. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, she says no. There's no maliciousness. You know, when she was talking about COVID-19, when I asked her about COVID-19 yesterday, she said, "I have never and I will never, ever create something out of maliciousness. Nor should you ever fear breathing my air, any more than I fear breathing the air of the cosmos." It's cool. Eh? She says she breathes when she breathes, she literally breathes energy in from the space-time around the Earth. She literally breathes in like we do and exhales and breathes in and exhales. Like she breathes too. Her body breathes just like our body breathes. It's so important to understand that it's a really fascinating thing. Let's see. Where are we here? Kimberly. Yes. Question from Carolyn. Does Gaia have any advice on how I can approach my family on recycling? I find a lot of resistance. Thank you. She's saying, oh, you're going to be seeing a lot of recycling very soon. There's no judgment there. As you, I have a physical form that has a way of dealing with issues that don't support or sustain the life in it. And although many of you are aware that there are things that you can do to be respectful of my body as I am respectful of yours, there is a point in the process where your own ignorance will cause effects that you will have to reap the events of. As far as your specific family members go, if they understood that I was alive and that they are alive because I am alive, that they had the body they have because of my life, they have the bodies that they have the things that they have, they would respect me very differently. They would be honorable in what they do or do not. What you can say to them specifically is that I am alive. If they cannot understand this, then it is not your responsibility. They will reap the effects of their own ignorance, as do all, including those of us in the planetary consciousness, those of us that exist in planetary bodies, as what you call Gaia and many others. We too have causes to our own, effects to our own causes, and causes to our own effects. There is no escaping that realm when you are in this physical dimension. But you can only do so much. If you operate from the perspective of honoring who I am, I will always operate from the perspective of honoring who you are. But you cannot outrun the effects of your own causes. That is not possible. Cool. Lauren, does Gaia have a message? Do you have a message for Lauren? I don't know. She's saying she loves it when you put your toes and feet into the earth. Yeah. She says, I love it when you put your feet into the earth, into my skin. It feels good. That's good. I like that. How old are you? And this is a great question. I love this. Reflections asking Gaia, how old are you? And how old are you? And did we have highly advanced civilizations thousands of years ago? She says, this is a very wonderful question. My age is of no consequence, but you could not measure it in times of your earthly measures. Even the numbers that you have created are simply numbers you have created in reality, I, and as are you, am timeless. I am without beginning, and I am without end, but I am in constant transformation and change. To answer your secondary question, you humans in different forms have been upon my breast for millions of years, not simply thousands of years. If you wish to speak about what you call advanced civilizations, well, I would not differentiate one civilization as being more or less advanced from another. For the issue of your expression here is not one of technological achievements, but one of the evolution of your consciousness. And from that perspective, there have been civilizations that have been far more advanced than the one you are currently experiencing, that have in consciousness transcended the material realm and operate on other dimensions, as you call them. Wow. Thank you so much. Heather's asking, can you explain to people how important where they were born has a special significance, and also the time as well, since you're speaking of energy and connection to Mother Gaia? Different way of saying it, eh? You bring up several interesting concerns here, but from my perspective, the relevance of these aren't as important from my perspective as they are from yours. If you understand that the reality of your existence is a choice that you made, you picked the time, you picked the place, and you picked the reasons for which you would come into that physical form in which you find yourself at this time. That there is a special significance over a specific time or place or location, again, is something that you will or will not assign to the expression of your life. And the assignment of these concepts of significance to one or the other will in fact determine, through your own choice to assign these to it, the extension and expression of your life. You will alter your conditions, events, and expressions of your life in that physical form based on the beliefs that you establish from your perspective. And this is true for everybody. You can add any form of significance to anything, and it will become a form of significance for everything. And you are free in this choosing, and there's no judgment upon you. The significance of events is determined wholly by your consciousness, your awareness, that which you are. And when you learn to differentiate that between the conditionings of this world, you will find you will be making very different creative processes and choices that you will initiate into your expression. Thank you. Great question. Thank you. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate that. Question from, did Gaia bring about the deluge 10,000 years ago? What happened? This is a great question. And she laughs at this, and what you call a deluge, she called getting a pep talk from her father. What do you mean by that? From the physical perspective, we all have parents, we have mothers, and we have fathers. From your biological manifestation, you required these two opposite entities of male and female in order to generate the form in which you find yourself existent. Well, so too my existence functioned this way as well. What you call the sun would be my father. Yes. And what you call the spirit or the energy became my mother. In the what you call the deluge was literally, as you would receive information from who I am and many others that you would choose to commune with in consciousness, I received transformation, change, nourishment. You might say that I receive energy from my father. I receive energy from my mother. As I am being raised, I am an adult now. It is different. But in my childhood years, there were many such events where energies from the father would empower me and strengthen me, much the same way as your father or your mother would give you knowledge or wisdom, information, or guidance to direct you on the path of your growth. They would provide you with food and clothing and shelter. Well, so too do I receive the same from mine. But you must understand the way in which I receive it is vastly different in the way in which you receive it. And the way in which you will experience what I receive is very different in the way that I will experience what you receive. I do not experience it as problematic when there's changes in my biology, and nor should you, any more than do you hear your child complaining as they're growing up. They get excited. They delight in their life. They delight at the opportunity for growth. The fact that changes in my expression and my growth affect you is only based in your physical extension of who you are. It is not relevant to the truth of that which you are, for you can come back into form anytime you so choose, as we all can elect to do that. Yes. So if you are concerned about your biological departure from this physical dimension, that does not mean that ends the existence of your expression in this biological realm, for you may return repeatedly if you so choose to do. Cool. Great question. Just going to scroll down here. Question from Blaine for Gaia. Do you have a twin flame? Do you ever get lonely or need a hug? Wow. First of all, your question has touched her heart, and she feels the love in your question that so few reach out in this fashion to me. I am honored to answer your question specifically. I am what you would call the planet in this system you call Venus. Is the closest to what you would call a twin flame for me. But there is more than one, just as you have you've had more than one interest in your life with what you call a lover or a twin flame. So too do I. There are many planets in this solar gathering that we interact with each other energetically all the time. There is a constant interplay in communication, in frequency, in energy, in electricity, in consciousness, between the awareness that I am and the awareness that they are, much the same way as you will have a relationship between yourself and other members in your family, or a lover, or one you choose to marry. So too do we as planetary consciousness have relationships with each other. If you understand this, then your desire to pursue a relationship with us from the perspective of awareness and consciousness becomes more fruitful than trying to exclusively pursue a relationship with us specifically from the physical conditions that you call matter. For we are a consciousness, as are you. And you may have an equally delightful relationship with who we are to the degree and extent that you're able to, much the same way as we do with each other. Mm-hmm. Great question. Never heard that question asked before. Wow. I'm just scrolling down here. Question from Bogumila. Does Mother Gaia have a message for Bogumila? Wow. She's just showing me this giant tree. I don't know what this means for you, but she's something about a giant tree and getting, like letting yourself surrender to it. She's saying there's a giant, again, this is just an image. I don't know what this means, but this is what she's communicating. She's showing me the image of a giant tree and literally showing you as being just surrendered into it, more like you're leaning against the tree, like you're in the tree almost, and you're just embraced by it. That's what she's transmitting to you. Is this a real tree? It's the sensation of what will happen when you find that specific. Is it a specific tree? It's a specific place that represents that kind of energy, that all-embracing energy of her. She says it'll be like her hands coming around you. Again, I'm not sure what that actually means. I'm just communicating the image. If you find that tree, or whatever it is that represents it, please let us know. I mean, I had somebody that I did a reading for last week that they asked the question, and I couldn't. All I got this picture of like mountains or rocks and something triangular. I thought it was a tree or a rock. I couldn't figure out what it was. I said, they told me to tell you to go to this place, right? And they went to this place, and then they sent me a picture and said, is this the place? And the place, I wish I had it handy to show you because it would just blow your mind. I actually might. Where are you? Just give me a moment, folks. So yeah, so you get symbolic meanings, and you'd be surprised at what some of the stuff happens. there you are. Oh, no, it's not there. It's in Gmail. Okay, I'll have to leave it. Anyway, it turned out being these massive rocks, these two giant rocks that were positioned like this on top of each other. I mean, these things were like almost 5 stories high each, leaned on top of each other. And there was completely an open space in the middle. And there, she took a picture of herself standing underneath these things. And that was it. It was like, wow. So the symbol of the tree, because it's very big, it's not small. It's something like literally it makes you look small beside it, and that you can get embraced by. But it's something that's she says it's definitely living. It's a living thing. It's a living thing that you experience that from. Oh, sorry, go back over there. That's funny. Go back. There we go. Sorry, just going over here. Okay, I think I got time for another 2 questions, and then we're going to call it a day. I want to say thank you to everybody, first of all, for coming out and supporting this work. I really, really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. Let's see if we got a question from somebody that let's see. Okay, question from Janine. Are light workers systematically spread out to help people? Absolutely. She said there's an absolute order to the dispersion of particles of consciousness. Those are the words she's using, particles of consciousness. That's how she's referring to light workers, as particles of consciousness that are distributed in a unified harmony. She's saying it's within, because of a unified harmony based on the overall existence of what you call life in this physical dimension. She says it's not just located to the dimension of her physical time space, but many other places too. Yeah, thank you. Great question. Let's see. That's a statement, not a question. Wow, lots of questions. Are there inner Earth civilizations now? Absolutely, and absolutely, yes. There are some existing right now, and there are some that have existed in the past. One of the ones that, the most recent one they discovered was underneath Egypt, the Egyptian pyramids. They're finding these vast caverns. They're not releasing a lot of information about it to the public, but there's this vast underground living areas in Egypt. And of course, the ones in Turkey, you've obviously seen those ones, but there have been many of those from millions of years of humans being on this planet. And she stresses millions of years is literally how long humans have been on here, for millions and millions of years. Wow. Absolutely, Lysandra. Lysandra's saying, can Jesus, Gaia, and everyone else send me love, and I will send it back? Absolutely. Let me just bring in whoever else is here with us, because again, I always feel others that are present, but Gaia was very clear that she was coming front and center today, and she told us this yesterday morning. But let's just see, can we do this? Okay, let's do this. Thank you, Lysandra. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just feeling it still. Thank you so much. I feel such an truth seeker saying, I feel such an overwhelming conviction to Gaia. Wanted to send my appreciation to you. I love you. Um, she says, just above your heart right now, you can feel my, she says, I'm tapping you just above your heart. I'm tapping you. She wants you to feel that. She wants you to feel that. Yeah, enjoy that. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Wow. Thank you so much. Isn't it amazing, when you understand? Yes. So this is all from her today. She says, in that request, you will have your answer. In that request, you will have your answer. Again, these beings exist. I mean, they come to us all the time. They're with you. You've got angels and guides around you. Learning to get beyond what your physical senses are telling you is really important. Come and sign up for our courses and classes, which start September 5th. Learn to become aware of how to sense the presence of these beings that are around us all the time. They're not often seen through our eyes, but they can be. Often I see fairies and brownies and stuff as sparks of light. So you can learn to see them with your physical eyes and hear them with your physical ears. But for the most part, you have to train your other senses, what you call your clairs, your clairsentience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairaudience. Learn, as Master Jesus says, learn to see without eyes. That's clairvoyance. Learn to hear without ears. That's clairaudience, right? Learn to know that you know. That's claircognizance, right? And learn to feel what you know is clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. Learn to open these up. We teach you how to do this in the courses and classes. You can begin to sense these other dimensional realities that are around us all the time. There are limitless dimensions available to our awareness when we learn to disengage our awareness from a finite perspective of who we think we are. We teach you how to do that in these courses and classes. We actually learn to break down your attachment to just perceiving through the 5 physical senses, which are also, when they talk about the Battle of Armageddon, I've had this conversation with Master Jesus. The Battle of Armageddon is an allegory where your 5 physical senses, what you call it, what they call in the Bible as the 5 horsemen of the apocalypse: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. They come and they wage a war on your awareness. They literally overcome you. They take over your awareness, and you get lost in matter, right? Other ways of saying that. So you want to learn to transcend, to rise above these senses, not get rid of them, but transcend, no longer be subjective. So please sign up for the courses and classes. Alternatively, you can come. You can also book a reading with me. Come and get a reading with me, and have your mind blown. It's always amazing. I'm just going to see if I got any last questions here. You're welcome, Lysandra. Oh yeah, I know. Like I said, Lysandra, we are multidimensional beings. And when you start to step outside of who you've been taught to think you're supposed to be, and you start to liberate yourself into that which you are, the information and opportunities that become available to you as a being, as an awareness, are just like mind blowing. Like there are opportunities, there's realities that you can generate in this physical dimension, even that make life exciting when you know you are the creator of experience, not subjective to the world. And you learn that through our courses. You'll learn how to break that subjectivity to your past, break your subjectivity to your fears about the future, break your subjectivity to the opinions and beliefs and ideas about other people, and liberate yourself from the world. And by that, I mean to liberate yourself from the world that's made who you think you are. Because you're not who you think you are what you think, and most of what you think isn't what you chose. It was downloaded into you by your environment, and we help you to break all that down. So please go and register today for courses and classes. And tomorrow, one last question here from Terry. Does Mother Gaia remember me also? Can she feel me when I meditate in nature, because I feel and know that I am very connected? Well, the answer is absolutely 100% yes, Terry. She's saying, can you not feel me smile? Can you not feel me smile? That's her question for you. Can you not feel her smile when you do this? That's the key. Learn to receive. She's saying, you must learn to receive from me, not just give to me. Learn to receive from me in the light. She's saying in the light. So not just what you get as from your senses, not what you just feel sensorily, but what you feel from her as an energy, as an energy, as a vibration of being. And I want to say thank you, Gaia, so much, and the other beings that were because there were other planetary awarenesses that were here too. When you understand that consciousness has different levels, right? But the levels aren't separate. There's a planet has a consciousness, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, the sun, Alpha Centauri, Arcturus, each of these planets and locations are different degrees and extensions of consciousness, awareness that we can interact with. And again, we teach that in the courses and classes, how to begin to do that. I want to say much love to everybody. We're coming out with me today and enjoying this because it's been pretty fascinating. We'll see you on Friday on Shortcuts for Your Soul, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. That's 10 a.m. on Friday. Much love, everybody. Bye for now.